Yes, Cassie, thanks. So we are, there are a number of us here that will be talking with you today. And available to answer questions. We'll introduce ourselves as we go. But as Cassie mentioned, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to put them in the chat at any point. And we will make sure that we get those questions answered. So I hope that as you were reflecting on a mentor in your life, you thought about someone that made you smile, somebody who was a support to you, who maybe made you aware of qualities that you didn't know about at the time, and you thought about what you appreciated about them as well. And so today we will talk about those opportunities for you to be that person for somebody else, either as a part of Big Brothers Big Sisters or as a part of Compeer. So we'll give a quick overview of both organizations. We'll talk about the benefits of mentoring, talk a little bit more in depth about what is a mentor. Many of you know what it is. Hopefully many of you have experienced having a mentor, but we'll talk a little bit more in depth about the role. We really advocate for a strengths-based approach to mentoring. Talk about that. The developmental relationships framework, which makes being a mentor a little bit more tangible and less scary to people. And then Big Brothers Big Sisters will share about their work and the details of being involved with them. Compeer will share information about them, and then we'll get into next steps, and we'll have some time left over for questions as well. So for today, if you are able to put your name on, if you want us to know who you are, if you can make your name correct on Zoom, that's great. We are happy, again, for you to participate by chat, or to unmute yourself and talk with us, raise your hand, anything like that. We're very, very happy to hear from you today. If you want to have your camera on, we love to see your faces. If you don't, we get that too. We know that things have shifted a lot over the past couple of years. We used to all want to see each other's faces, and now that has shifted quite a bit. So however you want to do that is fine. So we'll start with an overview of Mentor New York, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and Compeer Buffalo. So my name is Erica Friedman Coburn, as you can tell, and I work for Mentor New York. So Mentor New York is it's the New York State affiliate of Mentor National, and there are 24 of us affiliates across the country. And so all across the country, Mentor affiliates partner with organizations, schools, or anywhere else that mentoring happens. And we work with programs to either build programs or to enhance the work that's happening. And we use a lot of research and best practices to support the work that we do. So I've had the chance to partner with Big Brothers Big Sisters and Compeer for about a year now. We've been focusing on mentor recruitment, and we decided to try a collaborative mentor recruitment approach. So we are really proud to be working with both of these organizations. They have a lot in common, which we will share the details of over the next 45 minutes or so. And both organizations have about 100 young people on their waiting list, waiting for mentors, and both organizations are very actively recruiting for volunteer mentors in the community. So both organizations require a one-year commitment, and so committing to that year is committing to building a friendship and trust with the young person, and then helping to empower them. So a little bit more on similarities. As I said, it's 1 year in length is the commitment for both organizations. So this depends on the organizations, but the mentors and mentees, I'm just going broad here, will meet 2 to 4 times a month. And those meeting times are flexible. It's up to the mentors and mentees to choose a time that works for both of you. Also, both organizations have a really comprehensive screening process, orientation, and support throughout your entire time in the program. I just have to say, I worked for Big Brothers Big Sisters in Philadelphia for 7 years, and this is bringing back a lot of these these recruitment memories here. So a little bit of the differences between the organizations. So Big Brothers Big Sisters supports Bigs in the program support academic achievements and life goals for young people from 6 to 18 years old. And then Compeer mentors or in the program build friendships with people with a mental health diagnosis. And this is actually for anybody who is 6 years or older up into adulthood as well. So it's a cool option to either, you can work with young people. There's also opportunities to work with adults as well, or to mentor adults as well. So, so we had our national organization has a national mentoring summit every year. And that was just a couple of weeks ago in Washington, D.C. And so, you know, there's a lot of talk about the benefits of mentoring for mentors, and we can see those, right? So 55% of young people who are mentored are more likely to be enrolled in college. 90% of young people who are mentored report being interested in being mentors themselves. And over 100% of young people who are mentored are more likely to hold a leadership position in a club or a sports team. So there's these obvious benefits to young people of having a mentor, but we're starting to talk more and more about what are the impacts on us adults as being mentors, because we grow so much from this experience as well. When I was working at Big Brothers Big Sisters, I was matched to my little sister in 2012. And so we were formally matched in the program for a few years, and we're still in touch. And she tells me that I'm a positive part of her life, and that's cool. But she is so inspirational to me always. And so I don't know that we're comparing benefits, but I get so much out of my relationship with her. So I think that while being a mentor, we are helping young people, we also get so much out of the experience ourselves. So a little bit more in depth about that role of a mentor. So as mentors, and maybe these are some of the traits that you thought of when you thought about somebody who is a mentor figure in your life. Mentors are consistent. It is so super important. Mentors are trustworthy and non-judgmental. So life looks different depending on how old we are and how we grew up, and things that my kids are 7 and 9, and they handle technology like way better than I do. Cassie can tell you all I have trouble with technology. So like life looks a lot different depending on when we were born. And so I think sometimes there can be judgment in that as well, as to, well, how's that okay that they use a screen, you know, for an hour every day? There can be these judgments. And so we just ask that as you come into being a mentor, that you think about suspending those judgments, or kind of flip it into, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from this technology that they know all about? My parents now wait for my 9-year-old to help them with their iPads. I like don't help them. She helps them. So, which I appreciate. But so how can we come into these roles as mentors, learning? Mentors also are open-minded to bi-directional learning. Like I said, we're helping and guiding young people, but they're also teaching us as well as a part of these programs. Mentors are open to feedback. This growth mindset helps us all in so many different ways. And mentors are willing to let young people lead. And I get that this can be different depending on how old the kids are, but how can we partner with young people? How can we be mentors to young people and empower them? It's just so empowering to be partnered with somebody who is letting you lead and hearing your opinions on things as much as possible. So, and finally, mentors really we strongly advocate for a strengths-based approach rather than a deficit-based approach to working with a young person. So, so much more empowering to be thought of that way. So if we were going to say, if we're looking at me with through deficit-based approach, we'd say, all right, gets kind of anxious, lose track of time so much sometimes. All right, I'm going to go in and help fix those things. I'm going to help her anxiety. I'm going to help her time, how she pays attention to time. But if we flip that and we're thinking about strengths, then we could say, all right, well, she connects well with people. So then how do we elevate that strength, right? So let's think about these young people from a strengths-based perspective. We're going to dive a little bit more into that in the next slide. But And mentors are not intended to be judges, therapists, or social workers. Both Compeer and Big Brothers Big Sisters have great support system for you. And so if you are feeling like you need that the young person that you're matched to needs more support than you can provide, let them know and they will work to get that for them. As a mentor, you are not there to be a parent. You're there to be a friend, a consistent figure in their life. Also not to be a preacher or a savior to them. There to support them, be consistent, support them along in their life. So, and also not to be giving them money. So when we go back to a strengths-based approach, the mentee, the young person in the program, not the mentor, is central to the mentoring relationship. And when we think about this, we think about what are their personal strengths? What are the strengths of the community around them? And how do those strengths impact their lives, people close to them and their communities? So again, we're going in this with a positive take on it, not deficit. What are the strengths of the young people you work with, the strengths of their community, and how do those strengths impact their lives and everybody around them? And then we make sure the young people we're working with know that we see these strengths in them and that we help to build on them. So the last thing, and then I will turn it over to the organizations, is the developmental relationships framework. So our national office partners with the Search Institute, and they do a lot of research on young people. And so they have seen that when young people have high quality, positive relationships, both with adults and peers, they are more likely to develop resilience in the face of obstacles, grow, learn, and develop some social emotional skills. And they have seen that ideally young people have adults in their lives that exhibit these 5 traits. This does not mean that this does not mean that you as the mentor have to do all of these 5 things for the young person that you're paired with. But ideally, young people have access to people who have these 5 traits, and I'll explain them all just a little bit. So expressing care is checking in on people, showing up, being consistent, and just being there. Providing support, we like to use a Google Maps analogy on this one, which is as the support, as a mentor, we are Google Maps. The young person is the driver. And Google Maps is, we're giving, we'll say, we might suggest that you take this way. And they can choose to listen to us or not. That's totally their choice. And if they go a different way, we might get frustrated, but we don't let them know. We offer an alternative to keep moving and to go in a different direction. So that's providing support. With challenging growth, we are empowering the young people we work with. We're helping them to have a growth mindset, to understand that challenges will obviously come. There will always be things that don't work out, but how do we work on adopting a growth mindset and moving past those things? With sharing power, there's an inherent power differential in mentoring relationships. And so we encourage you to think about how you can balance that out, how you can balance that power differential a little bit. And then finally, expanding possibilities. And so this is, again, back to strengths, telling the young people the strengths that we see in them, sharing stories of a lot of different people that you think might resonate with the young people. And as is appropriate, introducing them to different people and starting to help them to increase their social capital. So I am going to turn it over to Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Thank you, Erica. And thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon to learn a little bit more about the power of mentorship and potentially how you can get involved with one of our organizations. My name is Kara Cantrell. I'm the Director of Development and Community Relations at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Erie, Niagara, and the Southern Tier, which is a mouthful. But we're a one-to-one mentoring organization, and we serve children in Erie, Niagara, Cattaraugus County, and also we do have a footprint in Chautauqua County as well. And our mission is to create and support one-to-one mentoring relationships that ignite the power and promise of youth. And that is all we do here at Big Brothers Big Sisters is create and support those mentoring relationships. And I'm excited soon to turn it over to a part of one of those mentoring relationships. But we are an affiliate of Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. So oftentimes people that have been involved, like Erica, I didn't even realize, in different parts of the country, are familiar with our work. So some people you might have known someone in your life who's been a big or a little or the parent of a little at some Big Brothers Big Sisters anywhere, and wherever it is, we love to hear those stories. So a little bit about who we serve. I know Erica mentioned a little bit about the ages. The children that are in our mentoring program are anywhere from 6 years old to 18 years old. And, talking about the strengths-based approach when it comes to being a mentor and supporting a mentee. We know that the children in our program and whose parent or guardian or caretaker seek us out for their child, they have incredible potential, really unlimited potential, and they just have maybe some challenges or obstacles or some stuff going on in life. And I think we all have stuff going on in life and could all use a little support. And again, that is why we are excited to have all of you hear about the work that we do and the work of Compeer, because there are so many great kids out there that are just waiting to have that extra support in their life. It's important. We always like to mention that the children in our program are voluntarily involved, so they want to be a part of our program. They want to have a big brother or a big sister or someone to hang out with. So I think that plays a pretty significant factor in the relationship, that they're ready and they're excited. We have great relationships in the community that help people find us to whether it's schools, parents, other youth serving organizations that will refer children to our program. And we love that word of mouth. Sometimes it could be a neighbor, has their child has a big, the neighbor wants their child to have a big too. So the need is great, and that's why we're really excited to have everyone here today to learn a little bit more about us. The goals of our program are really to, support the achievements and support the success of the children that we provide mentoring to, higher aspirations, greater confidence, better at, building better relationships, and supporting those positive youth development traits, and also encouraging and supporting avoiding the bad behaviors as well. That's equally as important. So we're supporting the good, and as the Google map, redirecting or rerouting when it comes to some of those ever-present potentials for risky behaviors, and really being there to support. Not a teacher, not a tutor, but just being there to support educational and academic success by simple questions. How was your day? How was school? What's going on? How'd you do on that test? And we know that the kids in our program have all these things as a result of having a mentor in their life. So I could talk all day about what we do, but nothing really shows who we are and what we do than hearing from one of our bigs. So I'm excited to have Big Sister Erin join us and talk a little bit about her experience with Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Erin, we
Oh.
can't hear you.
Oh, are you on mute? She might
I can hear
She
you.
might be having some technical difficulties, because I know she was joining on her iPad. Oh, let's see. So Erin, well, she gets connected. Erin has been a big sister in our program and was matched with her little sister Juliana in April of 2016. So going on almost 8 years that the two of them have been matched. And she has. I wish she would be able to share this with you, and hopefully she'll be able to connect. But she they have done such simple activities together, but really just, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, good.
Oh, good.
Oh, I'm at work and I work in healthcare, so it's like I had to bring my iPad in and all sorts of stuff. So I was very worried about connecting, and I told Kara. So sorry about that. But thank you for having me. And yeah, it's crazy to see that picture because that was a lot of years ago. So I am Erin Rogers, and I've been a big since April 2016 with my little Juliana. She started in the program when she had just turned 7. So she is about to be turning 15 next month. And I just cannot speak higher of the organization and the experience that both Juliana and I have had together growing. It's been truly wonderful to see her as a little girl, scared to talk to strangers, scared to put in her ice cream order at when we go to Anderson's, to now her being a freshman in high school and seeing her tackle new things in her life, such as adjusting from middle school to grade to high school, and having challenges with her schoolwork and things like just as any young adult, young person would have. So just being there and trying to remain consistent for her has been my goal. So what drove me to wanting to be involved in the program was the flexibility of it. We all live such busy lives. Personally, to say, okay, I'm going to volunteer every Tuesday night from 5 to 7. That just wasn't going to work for my lifestyle. So I liked that with Big Brothers Big Sisters, you could really have great flexibility of when you get together with your little. Actually, just yesterday, I talked to her on the phone because she had something going on and I wanted to connect with her, and we scheduled a date for tonight. So we're going to have a Galentine's sushi date together because she needs some extra love and support this week because she had, lost a father figure. So it just like the flexibility. I'm like, I'm free, you're free. Let's get together and see each other and provide her with love and support. So one just little story I always like to tell whenever I can share my experiences. When we were matched when she was 7, she had never been through a car wash before because her mom didn't drive and she had never experienced a car wash. And we were just out doing something fun and I don't know. And I said, do you want to go to get my car washed? And she was like, sure. She was so excited to get my car washed. And her face when she was going through the car wash, she looked at me and she goes, how is the car moving? And I said, it's magic. It's magic. And it's always one of the best things that I always remember from when she was little, because she had never experienced a car wash. And a simple thing that we might take advantage of, just going to a car wash, is that we're just opening the little's eyes to new experiences that they might not have been exposed to. So while that's a little thing, she's obviously been exposed to a lot more things during our time together. And I just really encourage anyone, if they have any desire to become a big, that it is one of truly most rewarding experiences. So we'll be together for life. I know the program ends at 18, but I always say she's stuck with me for forever. So thanks for letting me share.
Thank you so much, Erin. I really don't know how to follow up on that. So I'm just gonna share, Erin, thank you for taking the time to share. Hopefully that shows all of you sort of how being a mentor to someone could really fit into your life. It's not about finding more time. It's about incorporating a young person in the things that you're already doing, because they're really just looking for that time spent together. And so it doesn't matter if it's a car wash or walk around the park or whatever it is, they're just looking for that quality one-to-one time together. So just a few quick things about us. If you are interested in learning about becoming a big, we do have, as Erica mentioned, there's kids waiting. So there's definitely a great need for both of our organizations, Compeer and Big Brothers Big Sisters. We do have 2 different programs. Erin talked about our community-based program where the schedule, you can kind of decide when and where and how you spend time with your mentee. But for those of you that might be looking for more of a set time and location, a little bit more of a structured volunteer opportunity, we do have a site-based mentoring program at Enterprise Charter School in downtown Buffalo, where mentors meet with their mentees every Tuesday from 4 to 5:30. So I just wanted to kind of highlight that because for some people they like the flexibility and other people are like, I need it on my calendar this day, this time. So that works for them. So we try to meet our volunteers where they are in life and to provide those opportunities. So again, Cassie will share this in the chat, but if you're interested in right now getting started, you can go to our website or scan away or give us a call, and we would love to hear from you and kind of talk you through more about what the process would be.
Perfect. Thank you, Kara. Hi, everyone. My name is Ebony Towns. I'm the Volunteer Engagement Coordinator here at Compeer Buffalo. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us today and learning about both of our organizations as well as mentoring. So we can get started here.
Ebony, I'm sorry, these words got messed up. I'm sorry.
It's
You have
okay.
enough to go from.
It's okay. So at Compeer, our purpose is to champion mental well-being, connect people, and build relationships one friend at a time. We provide one-to-one mentoring programs to residents of Erie County, and we are an affiliate of Compeer International, which means we have over 40 different locations spread across the US and even a location in the United Kingdom and Australia. So at Compeer, all of our friends, they have a variety of ages. And we start at age 6, but one really cool thing about our organization is that you can't age out. So as long as the mentee is actively involved in our programs, they're always welcomed with us. And right now we have about 70 teens who are actively waiting to be engaged with a trusted adult to form that bond and friendship. All of our friends at Compeer, they have amazing qualities that can sometimes be overshadowed by the symptoms of their mental health diagnosis, but by providing social support and friendship, we help many of those qualities shine very bright. We like to connect with our mentees' social support systems. So this includes their parents and their mental health providers. And the mental health provider for Compeer serves as like the main referral source for all of our clients. All right, so we noticed that when our clients actively engage in our programs, they have access to increased social support in a variety of settings, and they also have the opportunity to develop friendships. And this is simply through that bond that's created with the volunteers. They take time to make that important connection, have important conversations, and just build a relationship. And through our programs, our clients have the ability to experience decreased feelings of loneliness and isolation, as well as increased feelings of belonging and overall improve the mental well-being. And this can directly be attributed to those friendships and that social support that is provided by our mentors and volunteers. So now we're going to hear from one of our own volunteers. His name is Keith. He's matched up with Lucian, and this month they actually celebrate their 1-year match anniversary. So if you all want to give them a round of applause, you can. Keith is joining us today just to talk about his journey with Compeer and why being a mentor is such an amazing opportunity. So take it away, Keith.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Ebony. Awesome to be here virtually and to see everyone. So I'm Keith. Yeah, I've been with Match with Lucian for about a year now. And I guess I'll back up a little bit and tell you, I guess, a little bit of my story if I can first. Let's see, I lived in Pittsburgh for a number of years. And when I was there, I did a lot of different I'm from Western New York, and then I was in Pittsburgh, kind of went back and forth. Now I'm back in Buffalo. But I did a number of volunteer jobs there. I taught an English class at the library. I taught a guitar class. So I thought volunteering was always something awesome to do if you have the time and are able to do it. And when I came back, to Buffalo, I was looking at different volunteer opportunities, things like that. And I came across Compeer and I thought, that sounds like an awesome program. Mental health challenges, I think, are something that's so universal. It's something that so many people face to one extent, or at least know somebody who's facing any sort of mental health challenge. So, why not get involved? Why not, start volunteering with Compeer? So that's exactly what I did. Great onboarding, great program. And I was matched with Lucian, and we've been having a great time. Essentially, we hang out, and it is as simple as that. We're buds. We eat a lot of pizza together. That's one of our biggest things. We play video games together. We go to a trampoline park sometimes, and he has a lot of energy, let me tell you, especially at that trampoline park. And we go to his grandmother's house and hang out sometime. So that is really the biggest part, I think, of the program of volunteering, is how simple it is and how nice it is just to be able to hang out with somebody, have a good time, be there for them. It's really as simple as that. One thing I will say, as somebody who's, I guess, done a lot of different volunteer jobs, if you want to call them that, or a lot of different volunteering, is I sometimes hear of people doing all these intense tasks and all this like administrative stuff, and I'm like, no, let's just do something fun. And that's exactly what you can do. I think when joining Compeer, you get to help somebody out and you get to have fun, and it's as simple as that. um the other thing too is, I think, this was talked about, is I'm not a therapist. I didn't go to school for psychology or anything like that. But and when I'm with Lucian, we talk about mental health challenges a little bit, not a ton. We don't dwell on it. We talk about school, talk about challenges there, what classes he likes, what classes he doesn't like, and always try to encourage him to do what he wants to do. He's really into coding, so I tell him like, oh yeah, you gotta stay in school if you want to really pursue that. But again, I'm really just there as a friend, and I'm there to be somebody who, I speak to him how you would speak to a friend, maybe a friend who's a couple years younger than you. I really don't see myself as like an authority figure or anything like that. Now, of course, sometimes too, if he's running around a little too much, and I tell him slow down, I don't want him to get hurt or anything like that. That has happened. But really, it's a great relationship. It's a great way to be a friend. It's a great way to be involved. And I think with Lucian too, he really shows me when he gets out there, his energy sometimes can be very high, sometimes can be low if he didn't sleep as well the night before. But he really goes out there and goes for it and has a good time. We went out to dinner one time, and sure enough, by the end of the meal, he was talking to the table next to him, and they were having like a dance off and everything like that. And I went over and introduced myself, and he was a hit. So he just goes out and he's a hit everywhere. So he's a lot of fun. He's a lot of energy. And I think that inspires me to see that. And that's really been the majority of my experience. Simple way to have fun, to support somebody, and to be there for them. I hope that works.
You guys can't hear me. Sorry about that. I was just saying that was amazing. Thank you so much, Keith, for taking the time to tell your story with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ebony.
Alrighty, so after hearing that amazing story from Keith, many of you may be wondering, how can you get involved with us at Compeer? So when you become a mentor with us, that just means that one of those 70 teenagers waiting will finally have the friend that they're waiting on. And even if you aren't interested in working with someone who's a teenager, if you want to work with someone who's a little bit younger or an older adult, we also have over 200 clients that are eagerly waiting to make a friend as well. Alrighty. And so to become a mentor at Compeer, you simply have to be available for 4 hours a month. You get to choose where you guys meet up. That's really flexible. And we're just asking for you to meet with your friend for a duration of a year. And being a volunteer with Compeer is equally beneficial for the volunteers as well. You also have the opportunity to meet someone who's amazing, and you get to learn something new. You get to challenge your own perspectives and step out of your comfort zone. And at the same time, you're providing social support to someone who genuinely wants and needs that support. So you're really doing something great when you volunteer with Compeer. So if you're ready to get started today, you can simply scan the QR code that's right here on the screen. We also attached a link to our website in the chat as well. And if you want to visit our website, you can use the information on the screen or always give us a call. We are happy to hear from all of you and excited to share the information about Compeer Buffalo. If you want to follow us on any social media platform, our handle is the same. It's going to be Compeer Buffalo. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to me today and Keith, and just to learn about mentoring. I hope we get some great volunteer applications, and I'm excited to see some of your faces in our building.
Thank you, Ebony. All right. So moving on to some next steps. So Cassie, I'm sorry, Cassie, I didn't You didn't introduce yourself. Cassie is my coworker at Mentor New York. She runs the chat for us and many other things for us as well. So if you are interested, Cassie is just put a survey link in the chat. You can fill that out to get more information from one or both organizations. Both sound good. You're not sure which way you want to go. Can fill that out and we'll go from there. If you're interested in just getting started now, there will be links in the chat for you. Or we have the next 20 minutes or so set aside to answer questions. We know that we covered a lot of info. You all probably have some questions as well. So we are here for the next 20 minutes, as I said, to answer any questions that you might have. So does anybody have questions for us? We'll start with that.
I have a question.
Great, thank you.
Good afternoon. So I have an 11-year-old son. Is it forbidden to get any of that involved, or is it encouraged, or somewhere in between?
I'd be happy to answer that question.
Thank you, Lisa.
Sure.
Yep.
So, Bob, it's something that's kind of in between. What we ask is that in the beginning, you as the volunteer and your friend get to build trust with one another, really get to know each other first before introducing other people into that friendship. But there's so much value in introducing other parts of your life to the person that you're mentoring and that you're friends with. So it's kind of that in between, really keeping in mind that the intention of the friendship is really to give that consistent and caring support for someone who is looking for that adult role modeling.
Gotcha.
So I hope that helps. And
Nope.
Kara, I don't know if you would add anything
Absolutely.
from your perspective.
Nope, Lisa, spot on. So yep, same exact thing. We really focus on that one-to-one, but we do realize that, as you build that trust, build that relationship, that just kind of naturally would happen, that you would want to, as Lisa mentioned, share other parts of your life. So that's fine with us as well.
No, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yep.
I thought of my son, but my wife is a care machine. She's an empathy machine. So like I could see her like, wanting to play a part as well. But like it makes sense that you would start with the one-on-one first. Thank you.
Bob, and I can add something to that too, from my experience. So I've obviously been matched for a long time. So establishing the one-on-one with my little Juliana was most important. But now her favorite day of the year is my family's Christmas cookie day. So I think we've been doing this now for 5 years. So she is really well versed into my family. Everyone knows her as Juju. And so you build to that. So it is nice that she then has kind of more extended loved ones that, treat her as just an extension of me too. So I absolutely get where you're coming from.
Thank you.
What does the matching process look like? Like you must take characteristics of a big brother, a big sister, right? And match those with characteristics of the child.
Yeah, and I can kind of speak from our perspective, and then if there's anything to add on, it's never like a first up on the list. It's not like we're like, all right, here's the next volunteer on the list, and here's the next child. We really get to know as part of the sort of process of becoming a big, we get to know the volunteer really well and what their, skills and interests and lived experiences are, and what they're looking for to get, to gain from this experience and contribute to this experience. And at the same time, we're also getting to know the child, and to know, the child, we get to know their parent or guardian or caregiver, to know what sort of goals they have and what they're looking for out of the experience, and what some of their skills and interests and what things they like to do, so that we do create, and our program staff do an incredible job really trying to find these, like we call it, it's like perfect matches of people. And I've had multiple recent volunteers that are like, I don't know how you guys do it, but but you guys found the perfect, little for me and vice versa. So we really do take the time to get to know the volunteer and get to know the child. And we share that information like kind of along the way before you would be introduced to your little. You get to learn about them, they get to learn about you, to make sure that everyone thinks it'll be, a good fit.
Really similar experience at Compeer as well. And I think what allows us to be that personalized and to do such a great job with presenting options to you is because we have a thorough screening process. The application really gets to know like a little bit about you, right, from check boxes or maybe some fill in the blanks, but it's through the interview, it's through the orientation process, through your reference checks that we really get to know who you are so that we can offer potential options. And from Compeer's perspective, we present a couple of different options to you and empower you to say, that's who I think I'm going to have the most influence and impact on. That's who I think I'm going to have a really good experience with. And it's not to make one person better than the other, but it's so much about here's who we think you might be a really good fit with, but you tell us what works. And you tell us who you think you would like to spend some time with. But that screening process really allows us to be that personalized and to present match options that end up being really, really successful.
Lisa, as you're talking about screening process, something that we talked about was how long it takes to go through the screening process. Do you think that's helpful to cover as we're talking?
Oh yeah, that's such a good point. The reality of the screening process is it's what you how much time that you put into that screening right from the start. It can take 2 weeks, it can take 2 months. It really depends on your availability to meet some of the requirements of that screening process, as well as realistically when it lines up with what trainings are being offered in terms of our orientation schedule and things like that. So the short answer is it varies. The standard answer is to say it takes about 6 weeks, just based on everyone's schedule, but it can be done shorter and it can take longer.
Same. I mean, it's they're because we are part of Mentor New York and we do all follow the same standards for providing best practice mentoring. That's why we have such similarities. But yes, exact same thing. It's very much a self-guided process in terms of how quickly you move through it. But on average, it takes about 6 weeks to 2 months to get through the process. But we've had people that are matched in 2 weeks. So.
And this might be a stupid question, but there's no like age limit on they're not looking for an actual like sister figure. Like I'm old enough to like be their mom. So
I hear you. No, the volunteers in our program, that's a great question because we talked a little about the ages of the children in our program. The volunteers in our community, in our program typically are at least 18 years old. The program that we have that is a site-based program, they actually can be a high school junior or senior, but typically 18 years old, and there is no age limit. And a lot of people I think do have that conception of it, when you say a big sister or a big brother, that you're thinking of somebody that's like kind of maybe I guess younger, but we really, it can be all ages. We had a wonderful big brother who was 80 something years old, and it was matched with his little for years, and they continue to stay in touch. And so it's really, we like look at the when kind of getting to know the volunteer, and I think that's where that really comes into play through that screening process, getting to know what like activity level, interest, all of those things. Age, it's cheesy, is just a number, and we want people to really understand that and we make sure that the parent is and the child are okay with if there is any age preference for the parent or the caregiver, the guardian, or the child. We do look at that. And same thing though with the volunteer, like we do look at age preferences for a volunteer. If they say they would like a younger child or a teenage age child, we look at all of those and put that all into play.
Same at Compeer. And one of the really unique parts about Compeer is the mentees or the clients in our program are of all ages. So if we have someone that's interested in making a difference and having an impact, but isn't so sure that they want to be matched with someone under the age of 18 because of your own preferences, we have the capability of making matches. Some of the clients in our program are in their 70s, 80s, and 90s. So there's a lot of opportunity. But I love that question, Rebecca. I think it's really fair to try and think of it from that lens of what are they looking for? What's the expectation from the mentee?
Anybody else have questions?
So many good questions. We're happy we see so many faces and you're talking, asking questions. This is great.
One more question. So
Thanks.
I don't personally care about this, but I know you mentioned in your presentation that you're not an ATM. So I'm assuming any expenses that get accrued as you're mentoring are just kind of your personal giving to the program.
Yeah, I can,
Yeah.
one of the things.
I can answer that if you want me to, Kara, in my experience. Yeah. So any outing, so a Big Brothers Big Sisters does have a lot of available outings, and each month there's one like group like free event that you can meet other bigs and littles at, which is wonderful. And they vary. There's all sorts of activities, but anything that you're choosing to do with your little is your expense. However, there are always donations that are provided to Big Brothers Big Sisters. So like there's always bills, tickets to Shays, you name it. Like there's always like your case managers, like first come first serve. There's all these different activities, and then your case manager also provides you with all like available free activities that are going on in the community. And honestly, I feel like personally we have the most fun when we're not doing something extravagant. So if we're just going for a bike ride or doing a picnic, so something really simple. So I wouldn't be concerned for expenses because a lot is again provided for you through different donations, but also they're sometimes just looking to chat and take a walk. So hope that helps.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, I want to echo that as well, that, while we have gotten pizza sometimes, a lot of the best times we have, we just go to a grandparent's house and hang out, or, I go to Lucian's and we play video games and do things like that. And Compeer, of course, has so many events too that are put on for mentors and mentees, Halloween party, nature walks, just tons of stuff that the organization puts out. So there's really never a shortage of things to do and really of free things to do throughout your time, I think.
Anybody else?
What are
Thanks, Bob.
This
is awesome. Thank you. We love it.
I hate to dwell on the downside, but what would you say is there a typical reason why the relationship doesn't work for either side? Like what are the usual reasons why it just kind of doesn't work out?
I think that's it's a valid question. And it's something that a lot of community members think about before they decide to apply. I can say because our screening process is so thorough and the investment is on the front end from both the volunteer and the client, we don't tend to see after that first introduction, things not working out. But there's not a perfect science to that, and life sometimes happens. So it could be for us in the Compeer program, it could be that the client is having a change to their mental health status. And right now forming the friendship and the focus on the friendship can't be the priority. And so that might be a reason that they don't proceed. It is very rarely because they don't like the person that showed up at their door with Compeer to say, hey, I want to be your friend. It is very rarely that. And if for some reason the client explains that, it's likely tied to something else that's going on, and it is not about the volunteer. As you fast forward and you're going through that year, sometimes there's circumstances that change for the young person and their family. Maybe they're moving, and that changes the dynamics and how that friendship continues. And quite honestly, sometimes that happens for the mentors too. While we ask and really would like for that to be a 1-year commitment, we cannot always predict changes to jobs, changes to medical situations, those kinds of things. So speaking from the Compeer lens, most often it doesn't work out because there is a change, an unexpected change to someone's circumstances. And it is very rarely to do with personality and connection.
Yeah, you know, that's a great question. And I think that the one thing, you know, same with us, it can be changes in life circumstances, you know, little moves or big moves, you know, or there's just different life happens, you know, we're all just getting through. But the one thing that I do want to point out, is really that Big Brothers Big Sisters, we support our mentoring relationships from the beginning and through the end. And so, you know, if there are those bumps in the road, because really getting to know someone and sort of creating that friendship, that relationship, can sometimes be bumpy, and we get that. So, you know, we want to make sure that, you know, when those little bumps in the road happen, that the volunteer, that the child, that their family know that Big Brothers Big Sisters staff is here to support them and to help navigate those bumps in the road. And, you know, I think we do look for that 1-year commitment. And obviously Erin has been matched for a very, very long time. But on average, our matches last about 3 years, 3.5 years. But even after a year or two, you know, don't underestimate the profound, you know, impact that you could have on the life of a young person by being a mentor for you know, for a year, for 2 years. It just really can have such a big impact. So, you know, it doesn't, I think sometimes we love Erin and her story and it's lifelong friendship, but, you know, for some people it's a few years and they maybe still stay connected in some ways, but it's, you know, we do just look for that, at least that minimum of a 1 year, so that you're not kind of coming in and out of a child's life.
I've also met a couple bigs who have something like a life changes happen with their little or something, and they choose to become a big again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always nice to hear, because like that the first experience was so great that they wanted to do it again and again and again. So
yep.
Awesome, thanks.
Thank you.
For one more question, if anybody else has anything else. All right. Kara or Lisa, or I'm sorry, Kara or Ebony, is there anything that you wanted to end with?
I think just thank you. We're really excited that you chose to spend an hour with us today and learn more about really the power of mentorship, and to learn more about our organizations. And you know, these are volunteer opportunities that aren't for everyone necessarily. So just the fact of, even if it's not the right time for you, just having this information in the back of your head for if you do bump into somebody who might be a really great big or a really great friend, now you know where to send them.
Yes, thank you all for attending our webinar today. And thank you again to Erin and Keith for presenting today as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone.
everyone, thanks for having us. Have a great day.
Thanks for being
Take
here.
care.
Compeer and Big Brothers Big Sisters, can you stay on? Bye, everybody. Thanks so much for being here.
Take care.
See you. Bye, Erin. Thank you.
Okay, bye. I didn't know if I had to stay on or not.
No,
Oh.
thank you.
I'm going to stop this.
So everyone, this is Lorenzo. Lorenzo is our new community